What's up guys, it's Steve the graphics guy here, and I have an exciting video for you today. I have an awesome project that I want to show you. We're going to go through every single step of the process, starting even before production. We'll do some pre-production, production, and installation. It's going to include things like printing and laminating and the SUMA and shipping, packaging, art proofs, color matches, and all that good stuff. So let's get started. So one of the first things we do when we get a new lead, once, by the time we qualify this lead and make sure it's going to be a good fit, the first thing we need to do is get some information, such as what areas do you want branding? Can you send photos and measurements? In this case, he's a friend of mine. He's been a customer for a while. I'm just going to go and survey the place because I'm pretty confident that he's going to go with me. So the first thing I did in this case was go to do a site survey. And what that looks like for me is taking photos of all the areas that they say they want things done. And part of it too is coming up with ideas for them. They might not, this is what I do. Their business is obviously completely different. And so you kind of have to guide them along the way of what looks good, what doesn't look good, what would be great for this area, what wouldn't be good for this area. So first thing, survey. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like. So when I go to do a survey, I am taking photos of each area, front door for instance, and putting these measurements directly on the image. And then when I go back into my design program to draw up all these things, I have perfect straight on images, I have all the measurements I need. So that's basically what we do. We're able to take certain notes of things, where we want to put certain things, just kind of grabbing a whole bunch of different measurements. It gives us an idea on the wall conditions, different things we talk about, maybe a hallway or, whatever the case may be. So we just take notes of all this stuff. And these were kind of preliminary because they ended up doing a bunch of work here, like taking out this wall because I really wanted to use this wall for branding. And there was like this closet here. We also took out this wall. So a bunch of this stuff is gone, the electric. And so those are some of the things that you need to get out of the way up front in order to make the process smooth. So, figuring out small issues like, is the drywall smooth enough to be able to accept graphics or wallpaper or, whatever specific product you're using. And so we did a lot of that up front. I said, Tommy, I don't want this closet thing here. I was like, this is the perfect wall when you first walk in to be able to, put your logo and some branding stuff. So he took down the wall and they did a lot of patching and repairing. They painted this entire place. They put brand new carpet in this entire place. And so that's where we started with the survey. And from there, we move on to our initial proofs. One of the things he wanted to do was label all of the rooms. They were going to paint the doors blue, which is one of their brand colors. So we decided to label them as well. So that's one of the first things. It's just going to be white cut vinyl, and it's going to be pre-masked to go right on top of the blue door. Second thing, this is where that closet was. So the kitchen's beyond there, so we labeled that one, of course. Just kind of want to show what that would look like in this elevation. But we're going to do a full wall covering on this back wall. And so they're getting that as smooth as possible in order to accept that. It is not an adhesive vinyl film. It is going to be a traditional pasted wallpaper. and we're going to use Dreamscape Mystical in this case. So that's one of the wall murals. This, I initially thought was going to be a painted blue wall, but we decided to switch that up, and we're actually going to do a full wall covering here. So that's going to be pretty cool. All of these panels here, there's a meet the team section and some quotes from customers that gave 5-star reviews. Those are all going to be our art panel project, which is a ACM, and those are going to mount flush to the wall, which is going to be pretty cool. All the text here is likely going to be printed into the wall covering, but I might, which I guess you'll see, I might upgrade that to dimensional letters at some point. I think that would be really cool and just make the wall a lot more interesting. So there is a big TV in the middle, so it's going to be pretty cool there. The third wall covering is going to be in their conference room, and this is going to go corner to corner and just be super clean, fresh wall covering. As soon as you walk through the conference room doors, this is what you're going to see. So that's going to be pretty special. And then lastly, this is on one of the left conference room walls, just some services. We're going to do these as the art panels as well on ACM, and these aren't the final ones here. We did some revisions, and that's going to be pretty cool as well. So that is the general scope of work. We do already have some other projects planned, which is going to be more of a phase 2 thing. But with proofing comes color samples, and I actually have some right here because we are right in the mix of this project. So working with the DUCTZ brand, they are very specific in their colors, all of their branding, as they should be. So we ran color samples of everything, and that is what I have here. These are their 3 brand colors. We ran this on the Mystical material, which has this little bit of texture to it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, these are their colors because we've done their vans. We have done this many times, and these are approved. The proofs are approved at this point, and now we're gonna start some production. I'm gonna start with those door decals, just kind of knock that out, get that out of the way, and then from there we're probably gonna pick up with the wall covering and then mix in the art panels, and really we're just gonna get it all done because that's what we do. But it's gonna be in a couple different stages of video just because I have a lot of things going on, but we're squeezing this in, so it might kind of look like a hodgepodge a little bit, but we're gonna make it look as best as possible. So that'll be as far as production standpoint. And then yeah, once we get to the installation, I'm definitely gonna do some videos there, so you'll have to wait until the end of this video for that. So don't skip, because you gotta watch this stuff first. anytime you're working with color, it's obviously extremely important to maintain consistency and also to make sure that the samples you showed your client match the finished product. So when I showed you those samples earlier, these are the ones that I still have. And so, I mean, these are those. And as these come, obviously when they were coming out of the printer, I checked them to make sure that they were there. But, you know, once these come out, you really need to make sure that they're the right color. So that's why we do these control samples. And with that as well, as these are coming off the Suma, really lay them out on top of each other so we can see how consistent the color is throughout the print as well. Making sure, you know, we don't have a lot of imagery here, we have solid colors. So making sure we have consistent in the blue across the board, and the orange across the board is extremely critical, because it's much easier to fix an issue here in the shop. But once you start putting this on a wall, you just add more costs if there's a problem. So the majority here is blue. I'm checking the blue. Everything looks awesome there. Everything looks awesome there. And if you see these little tidbits of white on the edges, none of that's gonna matter, because this is all traditional wallpaper. It's getting double cut. There's a 2-inch overlap at all the seams. So like I said, that's gonna get double cut. That waste is gonna go away. That edge doesn't matter. Top, bottom, left, right, that's all getting chopped off because we have an extra bleed all around. With wallpaper and adhesive vinyl, I typically do 3 inches in every single direction. So 6 extra inches total length and width. And now that these are all printed, I'm gonna roll these out on top of each other, trying to keep them all nicely aligned. Now, since these are mostly white, I put my gloves on as soon as I was pulling that first panel off the Suma, because the last thing we want is fingerprints or anything dirty. You know, we touch the take-up roll, we touch whatever while we're working. And so it's best, once you start pulling these off the machine, handling them in any way, to make sure you glove up and keep these safe. So next, we're gonna roll these and package this up, because this is one location. I still have 2 other locations to print and cut. So let's grab, so I brought some of these rolls down because some were too high. And I really need to bring some of these down as well, so I don't have to climb every time. And probably gonna wanna go from this end, get this nice and centered up on here. And one of the other things too, which I should have done when I was doing that, give each panel like a little bit of a lead in. So you're not trying to roll 5 pieces at once. Just kind of give everyone like a staggered start. Try to get that first one perfect. Get everything nice and even. And then, what do I normally do? I go back and forth with this sometimes, but yeah, it is always, I always get backwards. Foam first. All right, so that is one location, and I'm gonna pop this over on the shelf for now and keep it safe until we're really ready to box up everything. That's one of the wallpapers. I'm gonna go ahead and attack some of the next ones, and we'll continue on. I just sent to the printer the art panels for this job, which I print on something new for me, which is substance material. And substance is awesome because it's made in the USA. And if you've been following me for any bit of time, which I maybe haven't talked about a whole lot on the channel, but if you follow my business on any of the social medias, very big on America and the flag and the good old US of A. Anything to do with that makes me happy, and spending my money with American brands makes me happy as well. So I am printing on some of their material. This is the 2750, which is something I haven't had before, so it's kind of a test run as well. But that's printing now. So let me show you what we got coming out of the printer. So with any new media, of course, you want to make sure your colors are calibrated, and that's what this is here. We just loaded this up. I did the color calibration right off the bat because that's obviously very important, and I've become much more obsessed with color as of lately and really understanding the importance of it, and color consistency and color across different medias, all very extremely important things. And you know, as I've been aligning myself with some of the work that I want to be doing more of, I've realized that that's an absolutely critical thing, and so that's what I'm gonna do. So this is just starting to go here. The background of these art panels is white for these first two at least, and then the others are orange and have some imagery, but this is just the start. that that's finished printing, I'm going to get that off the take up and laminate it with a matte laminate. And then I'm gonna laminate that to the 6mm ACM board and pop it into the Suma and route it out. Laminating the vinyl to the board is what we're going to do next. So I get that laid out on the board, and this is one of the reasons I have tables on each side of the laminator, is so that I could support the board. One day, hopefully soon, I have a flatbed and I don't need to do this process. But for now, that's what we gotta do. So I'm gonna get this lined up on this front edge. I'm looking down that way and making sure that edge is aligned too. It really doesn't have to be perfect because the machine's going to read the registration marks anyway. But I want to make sure it's on the board. So got that set. And now I got some isopropyl on a rag. Get that nice and clean. I always get the back side of the print film as well, because that could have some dirt, and by the time I flip this down, that could transfer onto the board, and we don't want that. So flip that down. Cross-cut that with a super clean blade. I'm gonna wipe this one more time. And send it through. I usually do this at a much slower speed to get better adhesion. This product actually doesn't have air egress, so adhesion shouldn't be a huge issue because it seems pretty sticky, for lack of a better word. I'm gonna open the jaws here, pull the board back out, flip it around, and laminate the rest of the material. So I was really just kind of doing a leading edge there to start, and then we'll get the rest. Try to make sure that it's centered in the laminator. I could see where I've already laminated, make sure that's kind of nice and square. Oh, laminator's still moving. All right, I'll flip this up. I can now clean the other side. Okay. That's what that looks like, laminated to the board. And I do have a bleed on all these panels as well. I think I only did an 1/8 inch. And I think I'm cutting these with a 1/4 inch bit. So it's just gonna take off half of that about with the bit. And these will be on to the next steps. So let's get this into the Suma and get it cut. All right. So I'm gonna get my registration dot up as close as I can without it being a problem for the machine to read it. I get my board pretty straight so that that's not an issue. And I'm going to, you know what, I guess we can do a couple things here. First thing I'm going to do is set the camera height above the material, since it's, you know, a lot thicker than vinyl normally is. This tool helps you set that. So you push the tool down and then tighten it up once that arm hits. So that's good. I'm gonna set my origin so that it's generally in the right place. And I need to send over the cut file to the Suma. All right, I think we're good to go. Let me double check one more thing. We are conventional. All right, output to sheet. I have the bit installed, it double checks me. So when these come off the router, they certainly have a little bit of fuzz around the edges. I just grab a microfiber and kind of just softly brush all that material off the edge. Some of it's the metal from the ACM, probably being really hot and sticking into the plastic. So I could probably do a little bit of tool adjustment to get it to not do that, which I think maybe less passes maybe would help, because you know it's not hitting the same spot 3 times, you know, including that cleaning pass. So there's always room for improvement. But I mean, these do look really good. So I'm going to pull the rest of these off, get them cleaned up, and see what we can get into next. Next up, I'm going to get the double-sided tape on the back of these signs, and I very quickly realized that some of them I didn't take the protective sheeting off of, which was hilarious because then the tape just peeled right off. So I got those fixed, and that's what's going on right here. But we are going to tape these on top of a custom printed wallpaper. They're also going to have some silicone that's going to add some holding power to the back of these, so we're not just relying on the tape, but the tape is a big part of it, and that's going to hold it while the silicone sets. Lastly, we're going to move on to packaging up these art panels, and this is to ensure that they get to the job site safely. During this stage, I take production photos, which is a part of our process, and we're going to get these all wrapped. And this is just part 1 of this series. We're going to share with you in part 2 the installation of all these graphics, the setup on site for the wallpaper, and that's going to be really awesome for you guys to see how I do it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you guys. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.